Hello, this is Eugenia with Radiant Warrior Living. I am a professional coach and a guide, and I help women, professional women, to connect to who they are and find their voice. My work consists of a number of things, but one of the things that I do is I help people find their direction in life and connect to their true passions. So today I want to talk about a very important subject. As we are approaching Valentine's Day at the end of the week, I have been thinking about love and what love means for all of us in our lives. And the amount of love and how much we get love and how much we got love growing up, how much sort of support and love we received from people around us, and how much it affects who we are and the quality of our life. And the reason I wanted to talk about, the love and self-love, because when we look at the outside world to give us the love that we seek, to give us the love that we need, we're always coming short. Our expectations could be high. We cannot control what others are capable of giving us. But when we focus on ourselves and the love that we can give ourselves and the support that we can give ourselves, we take 100% responsibility, we take 100% control of what we're getting, and it's something that we can work on. It's something that is completely up to us. So having the awareness and the understanding that sometimes when you are feeling like you're missing something in life or missing the love, or when you look back at your childhood and you see that maybe growing up, the adults in your life weren't able to give you the love that you needed. It's about being able to see that you still have that child within you, and that it's up to you to give that child the love that you feel maybe you missed out on. So today the subject is around self-love and self-care, and the importance of both of those things in our life, and the importance of understanding the difference between the two, and understanding that the two are kind of the cornerstones of feeling as a complete human being, and also going through life feeling fulfilled and feeling like you're worthy. So I will start with self-care. I find that this subject has been talked about so much, and it's often mistaken for self-love. Self-care is really about taking the time to give yourself what you need in a specific moment, or to give yourself through your life what you might need, what might make you feel good, what might elevate you, and so on. And self-care is very important, and I think it's a stepping stone or an important and integrated piece of self-love and self-support. It starts with understanding your needs, who you are as a human being, and what is it that you require physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It requires the work to go within and understanding what are some of the things that are your pillars that you rely on in your life. The people, the physical things that you need to do to feel good, to feel embodied as a human being, and to feel complete. When you're able to understand what are some of the needs or some of the things that are important to you on a physical level, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, you can create a little map or sort of a little set of things that are necessary for you to have in your life, to have the feeling of completeness, or to have the feeling that you are taking care of yourself, and to actually feel like you're getting your needs met. And on a deeper level, it's only you who truly knows what you need, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Sometimes we look at others around us, at our partners, at our kids, at our parents, and we look at them to fulfill some of those needs. Well, very often, we first of all, people cannot read our minds, but it's also that other people cannot truly understand what are we seeking in a particular moment. And very often we ourselves, might not be very clear. So it is about getting clarity. And in different points in your life, I think, from my life experience, I can tell that you need different things. So, certain points in your life, maybe it is all about sort of taking care of yourself physically, depending on what you're going through, and emotionally, and ensuring that you are very clear on your boundaries with others, and that you are saying no, and that you are really taking responsibility for what you need, and also creating the space for yourself to get that self-care. At other points, it could be a spiritual moment. It could be something around having the space and going somewhere where you can create a connection with nature, and you can spiritually feel in tune with yourself. Or sometimes it's really about doing things in practice, that connection with yourself in whatever way that shows up for you. So self-care becomes a pillar, or becomes something that is important in your everyday life and in your life throughout the different stages that you go through. And it is a stepping stone to the self-love. And it is an integrated part of self-love and self-support. But it's not something that exists on its own. Self-care is not self-love, though. Self-care, again, is taking the time to do and to give yourself what you need, and ensuring that you do that on a regular basis. And it's something that you make a part of your daily life and your life in general. Now, self-love is really about having the unconditional, unapologetic understanding of yourself, who you are as a human being, and accepting all parts of yourself, even the parts that are difficult to accept. And self-love requires a lot of work, a lot of self-work. It requires the self-knowledge, the self-acceptance, and the self-talk, and looking at all of these things to understand, do you really truly have the self-love that you need in your life? And very often, self-love is something that is a big challenge for most people. We've grown up in a society, in an environment very often where the adults in our lives, very often out of the good intention to help us grow, help us get better, or maybe protect us, we're either holding us back or creating certain fears or blocks in our life by making comments about who we are, by making comments about our abilities, by talking about us in a way to us or to others where we've overheard something that was not very conducive to us feeling like a complete and whole human being, as well as someone who is capable of whatever we want to achieve. So very often these gaps and the blocks that have been created are carried by us throughout our life, and create this armor in a way that is not helping us. It's making us really heavy, and we go through life with that baggage. So looking at self-love from a point of view of, no matter what is going on in your life, no matter how much you have achieved, no matter how much you've failed, and there's no really, I believe, such thing as failed, but people do still judge you, or judge your actions, and you yourself are probably judging your own actions and your own in different situations in your life. And looking at your past, I'm sure there's been things that maybe you're not happy about, and how they've turned out, or what you've done, and so on. All of us have it as humans. We are on this journey, and each one of us has our unique path. And when we're trying something new and something different, or walking on this path, it is normal to make mistakes, but it's how we judge these mistakes. Not even mistakes, but how we judge these experiences and the memories that we have around them is what makes us either accept our life and feel good about it, or judge ourselves. So the importance of self-love is something that is showing up in daily situations, and it can affect you physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, on many different levels. I recently have been talking to a homeopath, and he's given me a big lecture on self-love. And he said to me that the importance of accepting yourself fully, and with all the things that you consider as flaws, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, is the key to having radiance and health in your life. And it was interesting because I truly believe that. It wasn't something new for me, But I felt that this message was something that he was giving me for me, but it was also for me to expand upon. And that's why I felt called to do this video today. Because I find that when I observe women and men, but I find that it's sometimes easier for me to relate to other women of how hard we are on ourselves and how high our expectations are of what we're capable of, and where we want to be or where we have to be and how we need to look. And the social media is not helping this. You have people who women especially, who have kids and bundles of kids, and we're talking with celebrities, and they go to work a couple of weeks after they have kids, and they put pictures out of themselves and looking absolutely perfect and stunning. And other women who are looking at these pictures are saying, well, I can never keep up with this because it's not realistic. A lot of what social media creates for us is not realistic. So it's really understanding that the standards that are created around us by the society, by the world we live in, are not necessarily the standards that you need to abide by. So self-love is really setting your own standards and understanding that you are your own standard. What works for you might not work for someone else, but accepting that and accepting that it's okay to be who you are and to have your kind of different parts of yourself and different challenges even, and things that show up for you, because that makes your life yours. So self-love is about unapologetically seeing yourself as a worthy human being. It is about seeing the importance of your spirit, of who you are in the world, and the difference that you can make. And yes, you might see yourself as a small particle and a speck of 7 billion people on this planet, but what you make and bring into this world with your presence is unique. So understanding your own uniqueness, your individuality, and seeing that as a gift, and seeing beyond what's on the outside of you, is self-love. And giving yourself the chance to be self-accepting, to accept some of the things that you might not necessarily be happy about. But it starts with seeing different parts of yourself and not trying to live up to the perfection that's been created around you by others. And starting with understanding your shadow, right? The parts of you that are hard to accept, that very often we hide from the outside world because we think that we will not be liked, we will not be accepted, will be rejected and abandoned and judged. So when you think of self-love and the importance of it in our life and the importance of self-care, you can see that the two go hand in hand. So for self-love, it's something that you can ponder and think about to understand, how much of it is there for you, and each one of us will be in different places depending on where you are on your journey. It's really starting with, understanding how you talk to yourself, how encouraging you are, how empowering you are. And very often when I talk to women and I talk to younger girls in some of the work that I do, I find that when we talk to ourselves, we call ourselves names, we're not necessarily very kind to ourselves. I always ask them, how is it that you talk to yourself this way? Would you ever allow yourself to talk this way to your best friend or to someone you care about? And obviously the answer is no. So it's understanding that, that self-talk and how you relate to yourself and how you judge yourself and pull yourself apart in different pieces for something that happened, or for a so-called mistake that happened. How is it that you take yourself forward from that? Do you forgive yourself? Do you learn the lesson and move on? Are you your own biggest fan? And that's really, where self-love comes in, and understanding that, really, you are all of those parts, the shadow and the light, and that you are not perfect, but you are who you are. So it is about self-knowledge as well, and starting with understanding the different parts of yourself and really going deep into the parts of yourself that are harder to accept is really sort of where this work can take you, and is going into the depth, into the murk, into the mud of some of these things, but allowing yourself to really see that through that shadow, the light emerges. And when you accept that shadow part of yourself, you're able to really get to the bottom or to the top of understanding who you are and appreciating who you are and accepting who you are. But it's really about seeing the different parts of yourself and truly understanding where they come from and why they're there and how they operate and how they show up in your daily life, where you can gain that understanding and self-knowledge, and from there come to the self-acceptance of yourself and self-understanding, and knowing that maybe certain people create certain reactions in you. So then you can see if you want to change the way you react to things or the way you are, or you might choose to just not surround yourself with people that create these reactions in you, or that that create you to feel this way in your life, because that that's not something you want, and it's not something that you want to bring into your life. And by that, you can understand that it's important to create boundaries as well, and take responsibility for how you feel, so then you can create the environment in your life that makes you thrive and makes you grow as a human being, and understanding that that's really what life is all about. When you're able to grow and foster the growth within you and in you and in who you are, and enjoy life and see the joy and the beauty and see your journey as sort of that flower that emerges, like that lotus flower that emerges and grows out of the mud. So I'm hoping that this video will inspire you to think about how much self-love you give yourself, how much self-love you have, or how much of it is there present in your life at this Valentine's Day, and that you give yourself the love that maybe the others have not given you, or you feel like you're missing out on, or you feel as a child you did not receive. So I wish you all the best, and if you are interested in the work that I do, you can go to my website www.radiantwarriorliving.com and see some of the work that I do, as well as you can reach out to me by email or by phone to book a consultation, and I'll be happy to talk to you and see if I can help you in finding a direction, connecting with your biggest passions, and if you are going through transition as well. I wish you lots of love, lots of happiness, and hoping that the journey of self-love, self-knowledge, and self-acceptance is something you'll embark upon, or that if you are a part of this journey, may it flourish for you and give you as much encouragement, empowerment, and love to continue this beautiful journey called life. Thank you.